the silky, silkworm, Simi Dhillon. Alright, so when I woke up this morning, I was so freaked out because like I've never done stand-up comedy before, and I was like, holy shit, my show is today. And I was like, what the hell am I going to talk about? You know, so what ended up happening was that I spent, like the show started at 7 p.m., but I just got here right now. I was in my room the entire time practicing word for word. I try to pretend like I have it memorized, but you know, I have this for comfort. So anyways, what's happening? What's happening right now is that like I got a text message saying like, you're so late, we have to change the lineup because of you. You're one of the last ones to go on. And I was like, fuck yeah. But anyways, this is joke number 1. Yeah. Anyways, so like I grew up in Los Angeles and I came to this country when I was 8 years old, and no one in my family could speak English. Okay, so naturally I grew up like all the other children. I grew up on Google, you know? And I remember like speaking English, learning English was really difficult for me because I had a huge concentration problem. I could not understand the positive and negative meanings of words. So I remember the first time I heard the word slut. You know, it was one of my best friends, and she was just like, she's talking about Britney Spears. She was like, you know what? Britney Spears is such a slut bucket. And I was like, oh shit, she said something badass. You know? And I was like, you know, I wrote that word down in my hand, you know, like I have shit down in my hand right now. And I was like, Urban Dictionary, and I was like, I got this shit. You know, I know fucking English. So I remember, this is in high school, this is terrible. I was in high school, I was 14 years old, and I went to one of my friends, and I was just kind of like, one of my best friends now, but the first time I introduced myself, she was like a cheerleader wearing short shorts, you know, being the conservative Indian I was. I was like, oh my god, you look so pretty, just like a slut bucket. You know? And she looked at me, and it's kind of like, you know, most people, the entire room was silent because I was kind of attention to her. I like talking about myself, like screaming out loud. So like, she looked at me, but she didn't get angry like everyone else in the room did. Instead, she looked at me and she was so like compassionate. You know, sometimes some of these people in your life, they look at you and they act like, it's like they look in your eyes and it's like they truly understand you, like they understand your soul. You know, it's like they can see the truth you. And because she saw me, she could tell that I was innocent. You know, she could tell that I was a very pure soul. You know, so like she was looking at me, and she can tell, you know, looking through my eyes that I was socially retarded. And what ended up happening was that she was just like, oh, you're so endearing. That happens. You know, you let people think you're endearing and you can be confronted them. You know? So, anyways, we ended up becoming best friends. I was like the loser Indian kid who can speak English, best friends with the hot cheerleader. But anyways, speaking of childhood experiences, I actually grew up in India, and I came to this country when I was 8 years old, and I could not speak a word of English. And India was actually so much more fun than America. I'm sorry, politically incorrect, but it was fun, okay? And that's because, you know, I was like a spoiled child, and I can do whatever the hell I wanted, and no one even gave a shit. And like, one thing was I had this closet full of toffees, and my uncle from England would like get me these toffees from, you know, from like other countries. And I remember we had this worker who worked in the fields, and I hated this motherfucker because he would steal my toffees. And one time I actually caught him to act, and I was like, bitch! You know? And he came to me and he was like, move away, little girl. And I was just like, oh shit, it's about to go down! You know? So what ended up happening was that I was like, what is the most humiliating thing that you can do to a grown man? And I was like, I'm gonna watch him naked. You know? So this is like a big thing, like Indian culture, very conservative. I was like, I'm gonna spy this guy in his bathroom, take a picture of some shit, and be like, oh, what's up? I just saw your dingling. You know, and I'd seen like my big brother, like naked before. He was like this big, so I didn't know what to expect. So like I remember one time, I was actually in India, and I was heading the bathroom, big bathroom, and I was just like, you know, really tiny, like 7 years old, and I was just like, oh yeah, what's up? I'm gonna humiliate this guy. And he came into the room and took off his pants. And what happened in that moment changed my life forever. No, this guy, he was huge. He was huge. I don't even know how to explain this shit. Like, he was like an elephant's trunk. It was almost like he was standing. It was like he was standing on his dingling. He was so big. He was black, pitch black. Like, he was brown, but it's black. I was like, why is it different colors? You know? So like, so I was there. I was like, I had my camera. I was just like, what's happening? What do I do? You know? And I didn't like reveal myself because I was like, what the fuck? This is like goes against humanity. So he was himself up, he went back looking in the fields, and I never looked him in the eyes again. You know, but I was like absolutely humiliated. I was like, you know, when I grew up older, like the first time I told this story was like a month ago, and people were like, oh, it's funny, you should do this stand-up. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do this stand-up. You know? So like I never told the soul this story because like I was traumatized. I had dreams about this shit. Okay? And but I was wondering, I was like, how do you like introduce if he had a girlfriend, like his poor girlfriend, he probably had an arranged marriage. But I mean like, his girlfriend, how do you like warn a girl about something like that? Who's probably like, oh hey gorgeous. Nice to meet you. By the way, I have 3 legs. Anyways, that's the end of my stand-up.